Hey, how's it going, everybody? Fwutter here. So I'm going to be bringing you a gameplay video of me earlier that I played today versus Leviiothan, big streamer on Twitch. A pretty decent player as well. He's going to be playing the Fallschirm-Panzer Herman Goring, and I'm going to be playing 20th Panzer. So a little bit about this game, or about my deployment. Choose the setup. So I'm going to go with the Pack 38 up on the top. Pretty much I like to set this up, this position right here, so you can get that nice clear shot down the road. And I'm going to decide to push this flank a lot. My reason being for that is over here, I mean, taking this flag is usually pretty tough. Fallschirm-Panzer Herman Goring is pretty good with his infantry. You know, all the paratroopers, got the good MP44s, and just better infantry all around, better than 21st Panzer. And plus, I mean, 21st Panzer, I mean, it's got a lot of good tanks, and you're going to want to push this flank up here for sure because it's nice and wide open versus, you know, going through the town, of course. Meanwhile, in the mid, I don't really like to push the mid too much. It's because it's easy for you to get basically surrounded, and then it's hard to push through generally. It's really easy to set up defensive, especially on this side of the map. Take a look from Levi's perspective. I mean, it's up here, you can hide tanks up here because it's the light forest, and the heavy forest, you know, for AT guns and whatnot. And you get a very clear shot down the road, almost over the river actually. So it's pretty hard to siege it with infantry because the transports will just get blown up. When I go to start off here, or usually with most of my deployments with 21st Panzer, I used to mainly bring only Ersatztruppen and the cheap infantry unit. And that's basically, I don't know, what else do you really open up with? I mean, whenever I play, I'm always too scared to really bring out more expensive infantry, like Panzer Grenadiers. Like, I mean, those aren't too expensive, but still, you never really know how hard people are going to just push one flank. Meanwhile, down here, I'm going to deploy like pretty defensively through here. I mean, let me put the Ersatztruppen in the town and whatnot. Another thing about that I should say about my deployment phase, we see Leviiothan. He's going to bring in big light grenadiers, some Flammenwerfer, and Panzer Grenadiers, Panzer 4, or excuse me, Panzer 3 in, and a Pack 38. A little bit of lag there, sorry about that. What was I saying? Sorry, pardon me, folks. Oh yeah, about my deployment. So rather than, you know, using Flammenwerfer, which is, you know, I mean, guys in really high elo pick these and they consistently pick them. I mean, I could easily swap out MG42s for Flammenwerfers, but the thing is, it's a very micro-intensive unit. I mean, yeah, you get smokes and whatnot to help you out, but I mean, if you think about it this way, right? Flammenwerfer versus MG42, I mean, both are really good at infantry suppression, but this is an interesting way to look at it, but an MG42, it's easier for an MG42 to kill a Flammenwerfer than it is for a Flammenwerfer to kill an MG42. And granted, that range, I mean, if you get into the predicament where you've found the Flammenwerfer right besides the MG42, you've already lost, and you shouldn't really be in that position. If you're in that position, you've pretty much already lost. But anyways, that's my choice between the MG42, because I know like not a lot of people like to pick the MG42s in the support tab. Oh, another thing too. So about the Pack 50s I bring in, so I like to bring them in with this scout car here. That is because the scout car, it has, I think it's high, or it's very high optics, so you can use it as like a secondary scout, you know, where you hide it in light force, and you can either use it to help it help spot for the pack gun, or you can move it around, you know, bring some recon somewhere else. All right, so let's see what happens next. Game started. Okay, so Leviiothan, he just chose to not really go too much into this town up here. Instead, it looks like he's just gonna bring. That's the middle. Oh, here we go. The bottom. Looks like he's gonna bring like a lot of infantry. Like, yeah, 7 Panzer Grenadiers down here, 3 Flammenwerfers, 75 millimeters. So that's gonna be tough for my Panzer 4s. and the Sherman Panzers as well, or German Shermans as people like to call them. But anyways, so let's take a look here. Overall, like both me and Levi go for a very defensive setup in the middle, and it's pretty much just going to be I'm going to want to all in up here, while he goes for my left side. Okay. So tanks, what are we bringing in? So he's gonna bring in a T-34 down here. My Panzer IV is gonna try and counteract that. My scout car is already opening up over here, but let's take a look at what's going on in the north. Okay, so I've pretty much set up here. He's quickly unloaded a pack gun, and the pack gun was towed by this SDKFZ 251-9, which is also a really good AT gun. It's also got HE on it. So I'm winning the engagement up here decently. Yeah, my infantry's sitting in the oven, which is pretty bad right here, but look, he's about to lose his RZ Stubben, and Panzer Grenadiers just there to hold the line. He is Fallschirm-Panzer Herman Goring, so he does bring in the GAU-87 to, looks like, go for my infantry, which is already falling back, because it was clumped up pretty bad. I mean, that was a pretty bad micro on my spot. Okay, so pretty ineffective there. So he opens up with the plane, doesn't really get too much value out of it. Pack 50 goes down, so now there's pretty much no AT over here. He's scrambling to get this SPW 233 over there as a form of AT. I got my Panzer IV command sitting here, giving some support to the Pack 38, so now it's 3-star. Not much for it to shoot at because it doesn't have any HE, and then also give some veterans to the MG42 for support. Alright, what's going on over here? Okay, so he was just in the town. I'm going to try and keep the camera a bit further back here. He was just in the town. Now he's going to decide to push the town because he sees that I am pretty much all inning up here. Even though I haven't taken the flag though. And he's going to try and come in here. And he takes this flag pretty much immediately because, I mean, no one really sets up stuff there because it's a bog right here, or a swamp. So new tanks can go over there, or recon vehicles. And then, I mean, it's weird cover how it's just not all dense forest. But anyways, Pioneers here putting up their best fight against 2-star Herman Goring Panzer Grins. RZ Stupid chilling out in the forest. MG42 is not doing much. This is pretty much just Area 89 in case he did try and break out through here. I mean, no one really is stupid enough to do that because it's all open ground through there. But you can never be too safe. Plus, it's really easy for that to redeploy. Okay, what's going on? So I'm still pretty much trying to get across this bridge. I have secured the flag. Easy 12-12 there. I'll keep that open. So we're both balanced. I meant to say that. I decided this is a big purchase. I mean, it's more than one sec. I'm pretty sure this plane is like 135, or maybe it just is 130 points. But I decided to use that because I need to really secure this push up here if we're gonna go for each other's flanks. So easy kill onto the T-34 over there. MG42 in this brush. I mean, it was almost killed the Panzer Grins, but I decided to pull it back because this Panzer 3N over here is causing some trouble for the MG42. Meanwhile, he's pretty much, he's about to overrun this. I mean, like once the Panzer IV goes down, he's moving the Pack 75 into place. I mean, he's pretty much got line of sight right now. Once he takes down this Panzer IV, I mean, it's a house of cards over here. And you can see, I mean, I have this big salient. He's about to take 3 flags, so it's looking pretty dire for me. And yeah, he continues to just bring in more units down here. There's that Strupen and a Panzer IV. So it's, from my point of view, when I was playing this earlier, I was really tunneling it hard over here because I was like, man, he's bringing planes, he's bringing a lot over here. I thought this was a SDKF 711 with the 110 point with the flak verlion on the back, but it wasn't it. This is just, yeah, 120 mil towed by a 20 millimeter carriage. So I thought, yeah, I'm like, man, he's investing a lot over here. And I was pretty much just like, oh, okay, once I get some units here, just because this is a big salient, it'll close up. And I was fairly right. I mean, the infantry's pushing in. I'm about to take this flag back. But still, though, I know, like, more units are coming in, so it's pretty much just I need to stop the bleeding right now. And so I decided, yeah, keep pushing over here. Nothing really much going on in the middle. So another thing about my deck, though, while we're waiting for things to divulge here, is so the way I play 21st Panzer is you get 2 cards of King Tigers. So I decided to bring in one of the King Tigers into A, and then the other one into Phase C. And I know Flatline, if you're gonna bring in the 4 King Tigers into C, well, why not run balanced? I mean, it's pretty hard for just one King Tiger in phase A and B to hold the field, so relying on balanced isn't too good in my opinion. So plus balanced is it's really tough to win against Vanguard, which is picked quite frequently. Enough about my pick about King Tigers. When they come out on the field, I'll talk about them a little bit more. Meantime, let's see. I try to resecure my flank down here. So what scares me a lot when I was playing this is, so yeah, there was a big salient. I closed that up all right, but in the meantime, like this one flaming morpher like scared the shit out of me. I'm like, oh man, I was way too slow over here. He's probably got a bunch of infantry in these trees, so I'm having to like micro the or make my deployment come off of this road rather than this one, because I was like, oh man, once I push up and it goes along this road here, like there could be, you know, my infantry and the transports could get ambushed, and then it'd just be GG. But he was going to call in Ju-87 G2, takes out the Sherman. I really should add some AT here, but I don't have, I mean, excuse me, AA, but I don't have too much AA in phase A. I think I just have 4 of the 20mm carriages. So, I mean, that's not really much. I mean, that's not even going to really turn back a Ju-87. I went for another bombing strike. If I remember correctly, I think I just decided to bomb like another... Oh, I decided, yeah, to kill this Panzer III over here. Because I was like, okay, that way I can move on my MG42 back in here, and maybe I can break out into here. But in the meantime, I did close up that gap, so I'm like, okay, well, there's not too much infantry here, I guess, because... Or if it did, or maybe any at all, because, I mean, the gap closed, so I thought, okay, maybe I killed them. But, we'll see, I can't remember. The Flaming Mortar, I think, kills one of my transports, and it just chills out there. Maybe, I don't know, give recon to him or something, but we'll see as the battle goes on here. MG42 opening up, I mean, so yeah, this MG42 that was sitting right here, I've redeployed it over here, and it's pinning down this air. That's Strupen, because, I mean, these guys, all they have is the Kar 98s for long range. Or excuse me, 500 meter range. So they aren't very effective at all against the MG42. Meanwhile, got the scout cars. They're going to be at the the SBW-231, opening up on the infantry. I do see, from my point of view, if I remember, like I did see his tanks. I did see a 2-star veteran C2. So I was like, okay, the commander is here. He's really just going to all in over here. So that puts even more pressure on me to push in over here. So I call in a bunch of Panzergrens over here, try and push that up. The reason why I had my Panzer IV like in such a precarious situation right there, like right up against the building, is because I was like, okay, so yeah, it can snipe the transports from here, but I mean that's kind of the job of the 50mm I brought in earlier. So it's like I don't need to worry about that too much, and I pretty much just wanted it to not get sniped in case of a T-34 or another Panzer IV rolls down the road. And I know this deck too, Fallschirm-Panzer Herman Goring also has Tigers too, so I was like, oh, well, gotta be really careful of the armor. He's using the shit out of his planes here. It's really pinning down my infantry, and it's making it really tough. See, I do call in one of my 4 AA pieces right now into this northern flank, because I was like, he's really exploiting it a lot. I mean, at least I can use it as close infantry support. I mean, these 20mm are like really, really good infantry guns also. And you know, they're armored, of course, so it's not like... I looked at most of his infantry up here. I mean, they have no AT at all. They're solely reliant on just the T-34 and the Panzer IV, which died. So I think my SPW killed it, or no, it's still alive. Well, we'll see how much longer it lives for. So I instead, or not instead, but I choose to, you know, draw out a fighter here. So my air tab, yeah, it's pretty bleak. Just got these Focke-Wulf A8s in phase A, and the anti-tank Ju-88 in phase A as well, and that's it for my air. But we'll see. I mean, they did fix fighters like last week or something, so we'll see how well they work. Anyways, T-34 is trying to push up and just do some forward observation. He's going to go ahead and recall it because he scouts out that I do have the Ac-50 here. And from his vision, I'm pretty sure he doesn't see that, or he does see it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, he could have taken that out if he had kept the T-34 there, maybe. Or moved up the infantry a little bit more, because, I mean, I'm really bad on my micro here with that MG42. Meanwhile, up here, I knew it was pretty slow, because I was playing this really slowly, because I was like, man, if I let the infantry die here, then there's nothing I'm going to be... It's going to be really hard for me to just get across the bridge again. So I'm playing it really slowly here. Brought in a mortar to break up his infantry. Meanwhile, though, middle finally coming under attack. He sees that I'm putting in a bunch over here, so he's gonna try and push the mid a little bit. Fair enough. Got the Airzetstruppen just chilling out over here. I'm pretty much just relying on my mid will fall if these 3 Airzetstruppen fall. So I mean, he's got 3 Airzetstruppen as well, so it could go either way. Pack 50 is not going to help out at all against infantry. But I mean, I'm not too worried about the middle at all because it's really easy to reinforce, like I said earlier in the game. But yeah, okay, so yeah, bringing in the U30F flak. This is quite a long name. Yeah, I mean, this flak is only really available, I think, in 21st Panzers. You don't see it too often. But yeah, use that as close infantry support, and I mean, it just tore up that Airzetstruppen there. And I know I can be like really indiscriminate with this because there's not a whole lot of AT here besides this T-34 that I know about. But he's been here for a while, and it's safe to assume that he would have a 75mm in that bush already. Pushing up here quite hard. Gonna take this flag, and it's starting to look really dire here. 10-14. It's one more flag that he takes, and it's gonna be a double tick. So pretty much, if he takes this flag and he gets his infantry set up here, I was pretty much just getting ready to call it because I was like, oh, they were really close, and all I really had was just Airzetstruppen. I was too afraid to bring in my Panzer Grins because, pardon me, guys, because losing them would just be really hard. Plus, I wanted to invest them up here. It does get the off-map off. This was called in earlier by, I think, one of those glider planes that the Fallschirm-Panzer Herman Goring gets. So yeah, it calls that in. Doesn't really do a whole lot. And pretty much just lost that plane to the flak up there. Lose my scout car, no big deal. Pushing across, trying to retake it with some of the armored cars here. I'm pretty scared though that there might be an AT gun here, but yeah, I mean, this, pretty sure I don't see that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty scary right there, and good job to Levi for pushing so hard there and setting up the AT guns. I mean, that's what's really critical to pushes, is making sure that you bring AT guns with you once you start or starting to get set up. So I got a couple German Shermans here doing their thing. Lighting up the infantry up here. I've secured this flag, but in my mind, when I was continuing to push back, I'm like, man, it's gonna be really tough. I'm gonna have to use like an off map or something to take back the town because it's really tough to push that. I mean, you could have like pioneers in here, and then just like a bunch of Airzetstruppen in the buildings. So I'm not in like too much of a rush to push through here. Plus, I mean, it's got a bunch of units through here. I mean, there's this big saline here. Yeah, I have nothing really to push the front line back, so I don't know how much is there, but I know it's quite a bit. JU-88 just came in. Like I said, I'm gonna try and keep this more zoomed out, but there I go again, trying to zoom it back in. It's just these models, they look so good. Like, let's take a look at this Tiger that he brought in. It's a pretty good model. Anyways, so he calls in the Tiger. That pushes back, pretty much stops the push here. I was already bringing this Flak 88 because I was like, okay, Herman Goring, or not Herman Goring specifically, but I mean, he is using like a lot of planes, so it'd be smart to bring up the 88 so it can, transport snipe, kill tanks, and deal with the air. Meanwhile, though, over here, he's like using a shitload of planes. He killed, I think, one of my tanks over here with that, and bombing my infantry and stuff. So I decided to bring that fighter back out. It's just like the first fighter that I bought. It's already killed like 2 planes. Just that come out. I think it's gonna get this third one too. I lose another Sherman here. Lose that flag. Getting really close again to 915, where it'd be a double tick down on the points. Yeah, look at this Pack 50. I mean, it's pretty much holding this road. I mean, it's done a really good job. I'm really glad that he just didn't push up the Airzetstruppen or these Panzer Grins. Like, it would pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much 750-meter range if you move the Panzer Grins up. Those are big light grenadiers. Pretty scary infantry. Yeah, those could definitely very easily take out the 50 mil, and like that push right there could have happened. All right, so I'm gonna decide to try and take this flag back. I start to roll out a lot of my infantry later on in the game, or in this deck rather, comes in armored transports. That's because, you know, I mean, 21st Panzer, you don't really get a lot of infantry, so you kind of want to make sure that they make it there. So this Pack 50 starts opening up. I get really scared, so I just unload all my infantry. Yeah, I'm continuing to just lose the transports. No big deal. I mean, infantry's already out there. Meanwhile, though, trying to push back into this forest. I got the tank up here. I was starting to feel like really confident after I shut down those 2 planes. He's got this Yak Panzer here. That's pretty dire. Yeah, and I do a good job of microing that back. Don't want to have that engagement go on for too much longer. And there's those really scary infantry units. The Valkyrie that Herman Goring gets, 4 MP44s, MG42, and I got the AT as well. So really well equipped squad there. So I'm gonna try and squeeze the mid here by like pushing along here, retake this flag, make sure I try and hold on to this flag, and then I decide that I'll just make a circle around here, because at this point, like, he's been chilling out here for a while. He's been paused here. He got this in phase A, so he's been here for almost 10 minutes. He could have a lot of infantry there, and I don't really want to lose any more tanks than I have to, or any infantry. So I call it the JU-8 again. The only way really to kill the Yak Panzer with 21st Panzer is with a King Tiger or this plane, or maybe an AT gun like an 88 or something. So I call it in, take it out. The way the cluster bombs work is they don't really kill a lot of infantry, but they make them very stun locked. So I got to surrender onto, I think that was a Valkyrie there. So that was pretty lucky of me that I had Airzostrip in there to get that surrender. So pretty good trade. Meanwhile, though, so I've set up the 88. 88 took out the Tiger, and what else too? Oh, so I bring in these 88s also with this munition truck, and that's mainly like these 50 millimeters. Like that way they can get topped back up on APCR. And I mean, you can use the munition truck to. It's really important to have supply in 21st Panzer, because that way you can, you know, fix the tanks back up if they lose their tracks or whatnot, and just general. Like right there also, I mean, I'm resupplying the mortar, so that's pretty good. Let me flip the view back over here. This is probably what I should have done a long time ago. Oh well, we still got plenty more of the game to go, or do we? 14 minutes until I lose here. I mean, it is looking really dire. I mean, all I have really, I still haven't secured this flag up here. Meanwhile, I'm pretty much just trying to get this under control, get this flag back. He is bringing in a Sturmtiger here. I don't think I see that yet. Or I do. So this Sturmtiger caused a lot of problems for me, because the Flak 88, it's not really going to pen the Sturmtiger. 160 millimeters of penetration, and then the Pack 50 isn't either. I mean, that's a pretty early thing. So all they're doing right now is that they're just bouncing. And I just called out my Ju-88 to kill the Yak Panzer. So it's going to be really tough for me to bring that out. So I'm debating right now if I should call out. I mean, I haven't brought out any of my King Tigers yet. We've been in phase B for a while, and that's because I've had to react so hard that I haven't really. It's been hard for me to save. He fires, takes out the 88 there, which is really bad. Does a good job microing that backwards. But yeah, I'm debating whether to just run it down to mid with the King Tiger and take that out. But I feel like no, I'll just wait for the Ju-88. There's not too much infantry for him to take out here, and it's not really like he's pushing too much. The Sturmtiger here is just there to give me a hard time, and take my attention off what's happening down here. So meanwhile, though, went ahead, made more of a push across the bridge. So he noticed this 88 really early on, because he really, like, once he lost the Tiger here to the 88, like, that scared him a bunch, and he didn't really give up on it, but I want to say he played a lot more passively once the 88 got there. So it's good area denial. Meanwhile, though, I did bring in this unit artillery. I wish more German divisions got this. I think it's exclusive only to the 21st Panzer. But yeah, the Rheinwerfer, really good AA unit. So yeah, they fire really good people. We'll just see it fire. But yeah, the way it shoots like really quickly, and it can reload quite a bit. Like, I'm pretty sure it can shoot like 3 or 4 times until it has to reload. So I used that artillery there. The reason why I struck over here is because when I was flying that Ju-88 earlier, like, his AA was over here, or in this region. So I decided to shoot over there. I'm like, okay, if I can take out his AA, then I can use the Ju-88 more and really secure this flank. So I do decide to bring in a King Tiger after I struck that, because I was like, okay. Also, not only if I did take out the AA here, like that makes it a lot easier for my fighter to clean up. Not that this is like already pretty saturated with AA units. I mean, it's just the 88 here, but it's also good to, have the AA unit as well as fighters. So confident that I took out his AA. I bring in the King Tiger, and also help solidify that push. Meanwhile, down here, slowly retaking it, slowly but surely. He's bringing more tanks. I thought he had a lot more infantry here, but yeah, he's just slowly getting pushed back. And I brought it back 12-12, so no longer is it a double tick, or excuse me, not a double tick, but am I losing it all? Decided to bring in the off map because I'm like, okay, so I pushed him back this much. I mean, if you remember earlier in the match, we were pushed clear back to here, and so I pushed him all the way back over to here. So I'm like, all right, let's bring in an off map. We'll try and take this flag back. Maybe we can push out through here, because this, once you get artillery or off maps that are really good, and you can call them in towns, quickly come in, surrender all the units. I mean, it makes it really easy to just take the town pretty much. And this is also a really good spot for a King Tiger to sit, because I'm still trying to think late game. I'm like, okay, this, because now I'm really starting to think that I can win here. At first, like back when I was pushed to here, like I was really close to surrendering, guys. Like it was not looking good. The Storm Tiger like running down mid and like taking out the 88, like that was pretty bad, and taking out 15 mil. So like he could easily push across here. I have this one Panzer IV here sitting here, and that's pretty much to, if he tries to just run infantry down this road and take the flags, then I'll have the Panzer IV there. But it's not going to be wise to have the Panzer IV come out and try and kill the Storm Tiger, because it's not even going to pin it. So I do call in the off map, right in the middle of the town, middle of the bushes. All it's really going to catch though is just this Pioneer and the Pac 50, so that's alright. I mean, a little bit of value, but not much. Panzer IV pushes in, takes one of the flags back, starting the tick back. I mean, this is looking pretty dire. He's at full bar tickets, and I'm at like a quarter here. Meanwhile, though, I mean, the push is still, I'm still really committed up here, because I'm like, this is really the only place, and I've got the King Tiger sitting down. From his point of view, though, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I watched the stream video after, not when like I was playing, of course, to cheat or anything, but I watched the VOD just to see, his reactions and whatnot, and for a while, like, he didn't really see this King Tiger here, the way that his vision was set up. And that's partly because, like, he has nothing on the hill. And I really didn't expect that. Like I said, I guess all that he brought in over here was just the Tiger. He never really invested too much here. Ju-88's going to try and bomb that, but it got so stun locked that, like, the shells went everywhere. 88's shooting. I mean, 88's do a really good job at, like, stun locking the planes. I mean, they don't really shoot them down a lot unless they have veterancy, but yeah, really good at just stun locking them and stuff. I mean, flying in right there, that Ju-88 saved the Tiger. Meanwhile, pushing some more down here at the bottom. This is a real meat grinder down here for me and him both. Me because, I mean, using the off maps, and it's kind of like, it's really easy for me to resupply. I mean, he has a long like route all the way. Look, these guys, like, they're going on a cross country drive. They gotta go clear through the forest, through the field, cross the river, into the town. Meanwhile, all I gotta do is just, my spawn's like right here, so it's not too bad. Yeah, they're all coming in armored transports too, so, I mean, they aren't driving too far. Yeah, they're driving a little slowly because they're in armored transports, but the armored transports help a lot here, because it's not like we're playing against Russians with AT rifles or anything like that. Okay, meanwhile, kind of a stalemate here. I think, what's he trying to do? At one point, he does try and push across the river in the center, but we'll wait for that to happen. Sorry guys, this is like my third time rewatching this. I watched the replay in here, or excuse me, this is my second time watching the replay in Still Division, and then and then I watched the VOD, and then, of course I played it, so I know roughly, what happens next. It's tough for me not to spoil. It's like a good movie. And in fact, I did kind of spoil it there. I mean, you see this ticket bleed. I'm going to lose in 4 minutes. Things are getting pretty dire, and at this point, I'm like, okay, I have to take back flags. Like, it's really important. So I decide I'm gonna bring in a bunch of infantry up here at the top, and got to take back this flag. I lost the middle because the Sturmtiger is just, it's a pain in the ass. And okay, lucky with the off map there. I do call it, like, I'm just trying to pretty much just, I need to just secure this, take this back, and then hopefully my thought here was like, okay, maybe the 88 can kill the Sturmtiger. The Sturmtiger's been alive for so long that maybe the 88 can. If not, like, it's gonna be phase C, or it already is phase C. Is it? Yeah, it is. It already is phase C. I'll just bring in like a King Tiger or something. But in the meantime, I want to get the 88 set up so that my King Tiger doesn't get airstrike. Okay, pushing in, trying to get the surrenders. The front line, from my point of view, it was looking pretty jagged. Like, as these Panzergranads are pushing up, like, the front line is moving quite a bit. So I'm like, okay, well, there's not too much there. I see the 20mm there. 20mm and 20mm. We'll be seeing it. Yeah, man, just Gepards, they're pretty strong. I mean, a 20mm can kill, like, some armored cars, and we've all had those experiences with flak drillings killing our tanks, but get really lucky there. Ju-88 kills the Sturmtiger. I mean, but I do lose the Ju-8 to the SDK of Z71. If you remember earlier, I was bringing an 88 up here. We see 3 crater holes. One took out the first 88. The second took out like the Pack 50, and then the third one killed that other 88 I brought in there. Just one shots him. So that Sturmtiger really paid for itself, because I mean, it took out the infantry, secured this flag, got the 88s up there, and that set me back quite a bit. So I decided, okay, Sturmtiger's down. Even though I'm too late on bringing in a King Tiger, I'm like, well, better late than never. I'm gonna try and get like one King Tiger down here in the middle, and then up at the top, because I brought it back to 12-12. So I'm like, okay, I really need to think about the long game here and how I want to set up, because he's thin and I'm kind of thin as well. I mean, all my units are set up kind of weird. Like this Panzergrins with the Panzerfaust. I mean, they're just chilling back here because he had been here for so long that I was like, man, he could just like have the infantry start setting up on the roads and stuff like Valkyrie, and just like start sniping my vehicles with their AT grenades. So that's, and I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, bad micro also, just leaving all these units back here. Okay, gonna call in the last off map on this brush because I'm gonna try and take back this flag. Pardon me, guys. So call in the off map and then bring in the recons, clean up all the infantry, and then I'm gonna push in with my infantry later, try and get the surrenders if the scout cars don't already do it. Meanwhile, though, continuing to push on the town, he's bringing more infantry here. He's getting really smart in the sense that playing around the King Tiger, he's not like marching the infantry straight down so that they can get shot by 3 really big guns here. He's gonna try and bring the AT gun in and bait a man, that transport, those Valkyrie got really lucky, man. They felt that 88 just whiz by that windshield. And yeah, he's gonna bring in Pack 30, or excuse me, Pack 40. Try and maybe kill the King Tiger with it. My net's set up pretty good though. Well, it's still just the 88, but I mean, I do have that fighter still on standby. Which I was really lucky that, like, the way that I played it with the fighter, I wouldn't let it come out to like shoot certain planes that I knew where he had an AA net set up at. Like I talked about earlier in the video, like I didn't push my fighter across until like I knew I had dealt with the AA over here. I wasn't really too sure about this. Well, I mean, I guess I did kind of know about the SDK of Z71, but I mean, I guess it's got like a weird line of sight because it's in the town, so it can't really shoot through the buildings. Got really lucky, and like he was trying to evac that out. I don't think that struck anything, but the fighter just you know, gunned it across the map, shut that down. So that was really good because he was trying to bring that again against the King Tiger, and then he saw that he heard the alarm for the planes, and yeah, he knew the fighter was coming. So I was like, oh shoot, better call that back. Tickets are still ticking down, so I'm starting to get really desperate here, and I have been really desperate, you know, but this game is still winnable, in my opinion. I mean, so I decided I'm like, okay, it's ticking down. I'm in like full panic here. I decided with the King Tiger and the Panzer IVs that had been sitting back here to just push down mid. I'm like, okay, so he's invested a lot up here, or not a lot, but he has some up here, he has some up here. I've never really seen the mid, so let's just push down the mid. If anything, I'll get lucky and I'll snipe the SDK FZ71. So I'm going to bring in the infantry as well, so support the armor with the infantry. Bring in the supply truck to fix up the tracks, because my thought is I'm like, man, it's going to be... I'm calling in artillery on this AT gun that I know that's there too, with the 120 mils. Oh, as I was saying, so yeah, so desperate that I'm just going to rush it down mid, run it down mid. The front line gets really stretched out. I don't know about this AT gun at all, and I don't know at all about the mortars, because earlier I thought that I killed the mortars with like the Panzer IV, because like it was only about 1,500 meters away. So yeah, unload all my infantry, Panzergrens against Valkyrie. That's really tough for the Panzergrens, but I mean they got so much armor support here, and I pushed in so far where this is like, I'm like, oh shit, I really fucked up, because like the way the front line didn't move in the way that I thought it was, and that's because these two units here like stopped that. And so I was really lucky there that the King Tiger didn't die from a murder shot by the Pac 40, because he waited with that Pac 40 in the bush until the King Tiger like showed its ass, and it still didn't, like, I mean it pinned, but the King Tiger still had like health left, that it just didn't die. Things are starting to look really dire too back down here at the bottom, so I'm just like, oh shit, things are getting worse and worse now, like this isn't moving, and I'm like, oh man, I should have taken those two flags. This Tiger here, and I have nothing to deal with the Tiger. I mean, I have the Panzergrens, the Panzerfaust. I have no more alpha map left. I'm bringing just infantry. The scout car is not going to kill the Tiger. So I get really desperate, and I'm going to march my King Tiger up to just sit on this flag, because I'm like, man, I could lose one of these other flags, and then like it's only like, it's literally a matter of seconds till I lose. So I decide to drive it up the hill. I don't know about the Valkyrie. AT gun's not gone though. He sees King Tiger moving up, so he calls it more Valkyrie and an AT gun. Meanwhile, like these guys, they're surrounded. It's like the Alamo. They're like, oh man, get that front line to move. So I call in a scout car over here, bring some infantry here, because I know for sure there's infantry here. The MG42 will provide covering fire for my infantry. Maybe the scout car can spot what's in here, but because of the way that like the foliage works through here and stuff, and the way that infantry and buildings have like really good stealth, that you won't see them until they shoot. It's just, so I have these two Panzer IVs that I was going to bring up the mid also. They do good, and like his Tiger here was in a decent spot to like shoot down the road, but it just got unlucky that I had two Panzer IVs roll out at the same time to kill the Tiger. If I only had one Panzer IV, I don't think, yeah, I mean, we lost one Panzer IV. There's no way the Tiger was going to die, so I got really lucky there. And so now he has, like, no armor over here. So, calling in a King Tiger, it's going to sit right around here. Now that, you know, less armor, I don't have to really worry about flank shots or anything. I still am pretty wary, or wary that there could be infantry here. So, but I'm like, if the off map got through, then I mean it's got to be safe enough now for a King Tiger. Finally, the map starts to open up a bit here. I think that's just because I had so many units here that like the front line just had to open up. This SDK is still just hiding around in the bushes. It's crazy. I thought I killed it in the game earlier, but yeah, huge salient opens up, and this really helps me a lot. I know that he has nothing up on the hill, that he wasn't like, didn't have like an AT gun here, that he was waiting for the King Tiger to show its ass or something and blast it, move the AT gun forward to the tree line and shoot it. The King Tiger I was talking about earlier, so the Valkyrie killed it, which is a bummer, but I mean I was so desperate there that something had to be done. Panzer IV, I'm so desperate too. I mean, yeah, it's 15-9, but I'm still thinking like, I could easily lose it, just because when you're so low on tickets, like you play so scared. And so I moved that Panzer IV to sit on the flag and maybe spot the infantry, but the Valkyrie ends up killing it. Still don't know about this mortar here. mortar's no threat. I mean, it's got no shells that can smoke it off, smoke something off. Focke-Wulf 190, really the hero of the game. Shot down most of his air force. Takes down another Ju-87 there. Meanwhile, I guess I could move up these pioneers, but there's a lot of town here. Don't know how much infantry truly he did have there. Trying to play this very slow now that I kind of do have a little bit of lead. I was able to clean this up here. Because what I did is, okay, so I was like, okay, for sure there's infantry here, so I just set this SPW. It didn't have vision at all of the unit, so I just decided to fire position, just shoot at that building. And thankfully he didn't like micro it out, move it to the different building. I mean, even if he did, it probably would have died at the MG42 or the SPW finally getting vision once it moved out. So I clear out the Valkyrie from that building by using fire position. Meanwhile, back down here, it's truly a meat grinder. King Tiger is here, but it's only here for like area denial, I suppose, so that it doesn't bring any more armor. Panzer IVs. A little sloppy with my micro here. This Pack 40 is cleaning up a little bit of the transports. I really need those transports to like help my infantry fight, because Fallschirm Herman Goring gets a lot more infantry than 21st Panzer does, so kind of need to really conserve units that can deal with infantry. Meanwhile, though, I mean, I pretty much secure this mid here. I know that like all he could really do is just flood it with infantry, which is really scary, but the way it's set up here with all these armored cars, it's really like a deterrent, because the Valkyrie, I mean, you got to get within 100 meters for the AT grenade to go off. So he's going to call in the Ju-87 D5 to deal with the King Tiger. I have no AA net set up here because I mean, this, you know, all transpired within like the last 5 minutes here or so, pushing across and securing the mid. So I haven't really set up the AA net. He loses vision of the King Tiger, so he decides this like is too important to miss, and plus he I guess he heard the fighter come in too, that he was like, I'll just wait and bomb it when I have vision, or buy another one and bomb it when I have vision. But at this point, the Ju-87 D5s are too valuable to just lose at this point in the game. The main win condition for me is keeping the King Tigers alive as area denial. Because I mean, I have these Panzer IVs here, but I mean, a Panzer IV will die down there. Another excuse me, another Panzer IV, but King Tiger will hold off 100 Panzer IVs. So I do, after I saw that Ju-87 come in, I do call in an 88. Sorry guys, like I was really surprised I won this game, and I remember like at this point I was really, my hands were shaking, like I was getting really, like the way I would micro units is I'd like click a bunch, and it was really surreal to just have it flip, like just at the right moment. And yeah, anyways, so I come in, as this thing is coming in, I'm like, alright, let's drop in another off map into this brush here, take this flag back, take this flag back, sorry. Okay, so he calls in another Ju-87 D5, gets vision in the King Tiger. That's because I think the Valkyrie is spotting that. Tries to take it out, and it's a success. So that's a big loss, but I mean, I have a bunch of Panzer IVs. I'm bringing in more infantry, so it's no big deal. It's just going to make the fight here a lot harder. But yeah, this Valkyrie really just does a number on infantry. I mean, the 4 MP44s, MG42s, I mean, I have MG42s as well, but it's superior infantry. Off-map does a really good job. Takes out one full Herman Goring Panzerfaust, pins the other. Decide to move this transport in really fast, because I'm like, okay, there could be infantry here, let me just surrender them. Lose that recon to his recon, that's alright though. His recon dies to the King Tiger. Have these on return fire, because I want to like bait his infantry into like not killing my infantry, because I'm really trying to conserve infantry here. I mean, I ran out of Erzet Struppen like really early in the game, so it's pretty much just down to my one phase C card of infantry here. This is Valkyrie is still chilling here. These pioneers, like, they got neighbors, but they refuse to meet their neighbors. But it's no big deal. I mean, I don't even know the Valkyrie's there, so it's whatever. Calls in a Jagdpanzer 4 here. Big threat. It's pretty hard for the Panzer 4 to kill the Jagdpanzer. But it can be done. But at this point, both of us are really over it, and I mean, he's stretched pretty thin, and 16 to 8, he surrenders. That's GG. All right, let's look at the stats here. 5,000, 35, 45. Really didn't think I did that well. I mean, losing the two King Tigers there, I mean, that's like 300 points in units. But, I mean, the main thing that really hurt him a lot was losing his planes here. I mean, this fucker with 190 shut down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ju-87s. Damn, Red Baron. That's a lot of planes to shoot down. So that really helped me a lot. I mean, had these D5s stayed alive and really did a number of infantry, it was going to be really tough, because it was really hard for me to afford to buy more AA. I mean, after losing the two Flak 88s to the Sturmtiger, like, it was... That's already 300 points, like, in AA that's just lost. So let's continue on here. Anything more notable? This was the Pak 38 that was watching that road on my right hand side, where I pushed really hard. They're pretty good killing the scout cars. These SPW 233s, they're pretty lethal. I mean, they can kill a Panzer IV, kill a lot of infantry. Took those out. 88, yeah, killed the Tiger, killed another Panzer IV on that right hand side. Really holding it down. Also, you know, turning back a lot of the planes. And yeah, Panzer IV, King Tiger. The thing is okay, so King Tigers, right? Like, yeah, you invest a lot. Kills with Panzer IV, killed the Pak 40. But I mean, it's mainly area denial that it's just such a big deterrent for people to, like, you know, they don't want to march infantry into the King Tiger, so why push it? Like, why feed the King Tiger if you don't have something to kill it? And so, yeah, if you don't have very many units to kill it, then you know, why march the units to their death, really? So yeah, I mean, this other King Tiger, yeah, like, not really killing that much, and same thing with this one too. I mean, granted, I mean, like, this one was called in kind of late when I had already kind of started to secure my left side again. But I mean, this one was the one that ran it up mid, right? That died to the Ju-88 later on. But I mean, area denial, it was there so that he can retake that town. And so yeah, guys, I haven't really done a commentary on Steel Division 2. Big shout out to Leviiothan, though. He's a streamer on Twitch, really great personality, really great gameplay. And frankly, I mean, if I was playing another deck besides 21st Panzer, I mean, it would have been pretty hard for a comeback like that, because 21st Panzer, the way it's set up, and especially the way my deck is set up, I guess I'll show you guys my deck as well. But the way 21st Panzer is like, they can really just dominate the late game. That's why, you know, they're picked so heavily in 4v4s. And most of the times, most 21st Panzer games, if you don't lose immediately, then you win later on. There is no real mid-game winning or losing with 21st Panzer. It's usually over in the very beginning, or you win very late, because you get the AA net set up, you get good support down, you get your infantry in phase C. I mean, granted, I mean, you don't get a lot, but you bring them in the armored transports, and it gets tough to deal with armored transports later in the game, because you have all the armor out and all the good support, and like you guys saw, shooting down the planes. I mean, granted, he could have, that one fighter, if he had shot that down by having a fighter in his deck, the game could have gone a lot different, and I'll say that. But he didn't. That's the way it goes. So looking at my deck here, I like to bring in a lot of these recons in phase A. I mean, this is really the backbone of assaulting a town against infantry, is getting these up there really fast, and just, you know, harassing the shit out of the infantry, and maybe you take out a few transports. Maybe you'll get lucky with the 233s and, like, I've seen where 233 like 1v2 a T-34, two T-34s, and it died like getting its last shot off, but it killed two T-34s, so they're pretty lethal units. Phase A got my pioneers to just like hold the forest, because like I said, I talked about in the very beginning, I don't use Flammenwerfers. Uh, Too hard to use. Yeah, you can get the value out of them. Maybe when I become a better player. Meanwhile, to stick with MG42s to play really defensively, and I think that's really the key here. With is even though I'm flatline, it's all about playing defensively, and yeah, everyone has their own different play styles. But I guess I suppose I play really defensively. I'll talk more about my deck here. I know this video has gone on for quite some time now, but yeah, okay. Panzergrins in A. So my thought is here is, okay, so when you do get those unfortunate matchups like Harashi, where it's a huge town to fight in, like you'll bring the Panzergrins in A under the command of like Panzer IVs, because you don't really get any like decent commands until like Phase B. I mean, this thing is bad to bring in. And yep, you can bring it in, but it's better to bring in this because there's no better reason to. It's a car instead of this thing. No, it looks so bad, right? Nah, I guess you could bring this in, but it's in Phase A. I just find you're stretched a little thin for points, but maybe I'm just making a bad excuse not to bring one in Phase A. But anyways, but the Panzergrins are there so that like they can get veterancy from like a Panzer IV and Harage that's sitting in the middle of a town that's hard to kill. So at least you have 1-star Panzergrins. And Phase B, I do bring in quite a bit of infantry, and that's mainly just to like hold the ground until you can get your King Tigers in C. Because in B, I mean, like you see, I only bring in 8 Panzer IVs with 1-star veterancy, because usually between this card of Panzer IVs in A, the leaders in A, and the German Shermans in A, a lot of the times, I've never really found myself where I've lost all 12 tanks in Phase A. So you don't really need to bring in too many Panzer IVs in B. Bring in the Panzer IVs with 1-star veterancy in C as like support in case like it is really a meat grinder and you're pressed for more tanks. Getting 12 of them is quite a good number in C. Plus they can kill like tigers and stuff, so it's a good unit to bring in C, rather than just not bringing them at all and going for like a 4th card of infantry or something, or excuse me, filling the last card of infantry. I feel like 4 points is just too much. I mean, usually with the tank decks, you want to, especially in the meta 2, you want to bring in as much infantry as possible, but yeah, I choose not to. It's just too expensive. Anti-tank, or excuse me, let me go through the support first. So MG42s, Oval Blitz. Bring the Oval Blitz in A. I choose to bring them my supplies out in A and C, because A, it's really important to fix up like any of these tanks if they do get like gun jammed or tracks broken or something like that. So it's really important to fix those up. And then C, because you're gonna need that for all the artillery that you bring in. I mean, I didn't use like these 122s there at all, because like not a lot of his stuff was like super stationary. Like he didn't have like a lot of stationary AT guns, and I think I cleaned up most of his AA, so it's not like I really needed to bombard it a lot. Meanwhile, okay, I didn't really use these a lot there. These Panzer IVs in the last matchup, primarily because I mean, these are really only good in a town because the accuracy in them is like, it's not that good. 30%. It's not that good against taking out a tank. Like, yeah, you have the heat shell, 100 millimeters of penetration, 55 millimeters of penetration on the AP. So that's like what, enough to pen like a Stewart. There's no reason really to buy these. I mean, these are mainly for taking out like armored cars and like a lot of the divisions that are like reliant on scout units, like 15th Rifles or the Canadian divisions, with all their abundance of scout cars. Brumbar, I didn't really bring in the Brumbar either because it wasn't really necessary. The Brumbar is really like, I guess I could have brought it on the hill where I lost the 288s, but it was not going to work because the Sturm Tiger was there, and that's just
wouldn't really work out. This is really situational, but when you do find the situation for it, it's really good. Uh, it's mainly there for, I guess, if they're just trying to infantry spam you, which he didn't really try and do. The command in B, and let's see here. Okay, the anti-tank tab now. Pack 50s and A. Bring these in with the 2-star veterancy. I mean, 4 of them is plenty. You shouldn't really be too reliant on AT guns in 21st Panzer because you have so many tanks to deal with tanks. And also, the way I have this deck built, like, the 88s do a good job as AT also. And I mean, why not buy an 88 instead of, why not buy a flak 88 instead of the pack 43 with the 88? I mean, yeah, you get more penetration, but the only situation I see me buying these is against Soviet divisions with IS-2s, or if I'm against another 21st Panzer, which is extremely rare. So, I mean, these are... there was no real reason to use those back there. The Pack 50 did all the job that I need. Plus, yeah, it's HE, but you don't really want to have this shoot HE. It'll just give the position away and get bombed. So, it's just use the 88. So, yeah. Oh, and then so, yeah, and B, this is also my supply for B, I suppose. I don't really drive these around a whole lot. I mean, it's if I get into a really bad spot with supply, like I've lost the supply tracker, it's been captured for some unknown reason, then I don't really like to drive these out. I mean, yeah, they're there to drive to resupply, but you shouldn't really drive these out. It's because these munition trucks, like they're really vulnerable because they're so slow, like 40 kilometers. 29 off-road, and most of the time they are going to be off-road because you hide guns off-road, not on the road. So yeah, only 5,000 supply though, so it's pretty much there just to you know, sit there to supply the 88 itself or the artillery around. Like back there where I had that 88 on the right, it was like the perfect situation for the munition truck. Resupply the artillery, the 88, and refill the APCR. Alright, artillery tab, 120 millimeter in phase A. That's for when I'm defending or assaulting a town. The Rhine warfare. Same thing, pretty much for assaulting a town. Or if I need to smoke something off. I mean, yeah, this can smoke it off, but the way that this lays smoke, it's like really instantaneous because it just fires all 20, I think it is. Or it's less than that. But it just fires 16. It just fires like 16 smokes like instantaneously. So you just smoke off like an entire area and a bunch of tank, which makes the enemy like really blind. Battery Führer, I didn't really use a whole lot of command there just because it was, I didn't really have, my command never really got set there due to bad micro. But yeah, the Battery Führer is here to instead so that I don't have to bring in Panzer Grandführer or the Grandführer. 122 millimeters. These are mainly, you know, for if he has a lot of stationary stuff. Went over that a bit before. And the off map, extremely useful last game, especially this 173. There's a lot of artillery here, and I definitely think this is one of the best ones to bring. And you saw there, it really paid for itself over and over. And then my air tab, just these two Fokker Wolves in A and the Ju-88 in A. That's really all you need. I mean, this right here is like one ISU that you can kill, or one another King Tiger or Tigers. So it's very easy for this unit to pay for itself. It's just really vulnerable to fighters and bombers, or not bombers, but anti-air. And these Fokker Wolf 140s really strong. I mean, when these were shooting down planes, like the way the auto cannons and the machine guns were, the time to kill was very short, so they're pretty good. But I mean, if you wanted, like, I choose to just bring a really good fighter because like you're vulnerable a lot to planes with the armor. Like so it's important to just have like a really good fighter, in my opinion, now that fighters got fixed. I mean, it's always an option to bring these, but But look, I mean, only 2 MGs, like that's a high time to kill for if you're trying to kill a bomber. And most of those, I mean, the Ju-87s, granted, like the resilience is like not super good, but still, I mean, it's an option. But I pretty much prefer just to have a dedicated fighter, especially like fighter on fighter. Like this is really important for like head on, just instantly kill another fighter in one pass. And so yeah, guys, a game that I didn't think I was gonna win, and I thought it was really special, and this is my first time really making a video like this. Uh, yeah, so I'll go ahead and hang it up there. Take it easy.